Hello and welcome back to Pseudo Gameplay TV for another character analysis video. We're continuing through the characters that you can obtain through Infinity Rifts alphabetically rather than sequentially, just because that's the mode that we followed for the previous characters, and that brings us to the God of Mischief, Loki. Now, as a quick reminder, before we get into his abilities and origins, I do want to remind you that if we can reach those 50 subs before the end of the year, we will be doing a subscriber giveaway. So make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you can be kept up to date on how to enter for that giveaway if it comes available, when it comes available, because I believe in you guys. In terms of discussing Loki and what he's capable of as a character and how he plays in this game, Loki first made his appearance in 1962, so he's one of the long-standing characters from Marvel Comics. He's been a thorn in the side of the Avengers on multiple different occasions, and tends to bite off more than he can chew in a lot of those matchups, but certainly gives the heroes a run for their money as they are working against him. In terms of the abilities that he has or has been known to have, he's a master of manipulation and deceit, has superhuman strength, speed, durability, and longevity, and his powers that he gains, being of Asgardian ancestry, includes astral projection, energy blasts, flight, illusion casting, interdimensional teleportation, shape-shifting, and telepathy. So quite a grab bag of powers and things that he is able to do, given his role and his vast experience. His attacks that he has access to are pretty interesting as well, to certainly make him quite the dynamic character. The first attack that he has is Dark Magic, where 3 balls of magic energy track and home in onto their targets. The second attack is the Deep Freeze, where frigid air is released upon his enemies in front of the character, and with enough exposure is liable to freeze the opponent as well. His third attack and ability, the Frost Illusion, creates 2 mirror images that cast spells, so it adds a couple of extra, sometimes much needed, teammates to your roster in order to clear out some of the more havoc-causing opponents. And the fourth and final ability he gains access to is the Mystic Vortex, where he waves his staff and creates a tornado in the area for a short amount of time. Now, Loki doesn't have a lot of synergies in comparison with a lot of the other characters that we've looked at, but this team maxes out all of them. As a matter of fact, 3 of his 4 synergies requirements are met just by having Thor along on the team, and then either Magneto or Venom brings the last synergy into fruition. So let's have a quick look at how you can obtain Loki, and then we'll dive into our favorite rift and showcase his moves in action in combat. So Loki can be obtained here through the clearing out a path to the last quest in the Sigma Rift. This is the third of the 4 different rifts that you need to go through in order to unlock the additional characters. The best route that I found was just going straight up towards him, though I did make a detour in order to obtain the Doctor Strange alternate costume here, just because it was available to me. But this is a very difficult trial to clear, at least it was for me, because you do have to fight the 5 different members of the Black Order sequentially, and there's no revives this time as there is with the standard quest as you go through the main story, so it can be a little bit of a headache to get through. But Loki is worth going through that trial, especially if you're competent in your abilities and your team synergies. So let's go ahead and jump into our favorite Infinity Rift now and showcase Loki's gameplay in action. Alright, so Loki does showcase his flight capabilities here, which is an interesting dynamic to the character, one that you certainly wouldn't expect at a passing glance with what we know of from his appearances in the MCU. And his series of standard attacks is a 4 series attack with his scepter, which does finish with a forward lunge that has some knockdown to it. His heavy attack is a energy blast that runs across the floor and does have knockdown to it, as is customary, but not exclusive to heavy attacks. His aerial does include a downward plunge with his staff into the characters that he would come down on top of. And that's going to do it for the majority of his regular attacks. Again, do recall that if you get stuck in a pickle, you can use the double jump and fly away as long as you've gotten some of your attack power to use up. Now his first attack is Dark Magic, and Dark Magic is the 3 energy balls that will home in on their opponents. It does have some charge up to it, but Loki does summon 2 additional characters or 2 additional mirror images of himself as he gets that winded up. It has quite a bit of startup, not the greatest attack to be using, but certainly has its circumstantial uses. Now his second attack is the Deep Freeze. This is exclusive to the characters that are directly in front of him. And it does have a decent amount of attacks, or attack space, that comes into play and will knock down some of the smaller grunt-type forces that you may run into. It again is used by him summoning a bunch of astral projections or clones of himself. So do keep that in mind, and does have a little bit more startup, but has more damage output than Dark Magic has. The Frost Illusion creates 2 of his characters that come up above the top and throw down some frost onto the ground below. It doesn't have any knockdown or freezing elements to it, but it will create a decent amount of attack damage in an area of effect. As you saw there with this heavier character, it did deal a decent amount of damage to him directly, though it kind of ignored his stagger shield bar there as well. His fourth and final attack, the Magic Vortex, creates a vortex. This one is not as manipulable as some of the other ones that you've seen summoned, but it will get some of the smaller, more annoying characters off your back, and does home in a little bit on some of the characters in the nearby area. Now, in terms of his extreme attack, he creates 4 different clones that fire ice blasts inwards, which then does actually freeze characters and knocks a vast majority of them out. So a very high power ultimate attack, to be sure. Now, Loki is a very fun character. He's one of my favorite characters for Marvel Comics specifically. But he's quite useful and is certainly worth going through the hassle of unlocking him from the Infinity Rift. We'll be back in a few days on Monday for the next character analysis from those Infinity Rifts. This time it will be Magneto. So make sure that you're subscribed to stay up to date on that. And don't forget that if we can get up to those 50 subscribers, we will be doing that giveaway. So thanks again for your support on this series. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and you have a great rest of your day.